Well, hi again, Beaver Nation, and it is a pleasure to welcome the associate head coach for Wayne Tinkle's Oregon State men's basketball program. He is Kerry Rupp. Coach Rupp, welcome to Beaver Nation. Great to have you here. A lot of this has happened quickly, but if you could give us just your account of how you and Coach Tinkle ended up here together and how it kind of all came about as quickly as it did.
Well, it's interesting. You know, I'm very fortunate to be able, the last 2 years, to spend time with Coach Tinkle. And actually, it started when I was at University of Hawaii, and we came and played University of Montana in a bracket buster game, and we actually had a very good team. And I came in there and really, Montana, I think, beat us by 20, start to finish. The place was rocking and rolling. On top of winning the game, they also had Hawaiian night. Which made everybody not real happy about it. But I remember waking up the next morning and see how beautiful it was in Missoula, and then talking to my wife on the phone about what a great job Coach Tinkle has done building that program, the community support, the university support, the fan support at the games, and I really liked the style, how he played. I liked his competitive spirit with his team. I remember talking to my wife if there ever becomes an opportunity where, you know, kind of get back out west, which most of my family's from, which I really originally are from Salt Lake City, Utah. I was going to jump on it. Well, shoot, a couple months later, one of his assistants took the job at Idaho State, and some of our mutual friends started talking, and then we started talking and then had the opportunity to join that staff, which was an unbelievable opportunity. I think we're like a special place and a special time. Great thing about Coach Tinkle, you know, you work for a lot of guys. Even though I work for him, he makes you feel like you're working with him, which I think is a special attribute. But really have enjoyed, kind of formed a great bond through family and our similar beliefs in a value-based system, having structured plans in place for all the young men and for the programs that we're involved with. And so it was a natural thing to want to come with him and really try to share in this opportunity. Again, I think this is a special place. I think a special time too, and I think, you know, the opportunity to come with Coach is something that, you know, I didn't want to miss out on.
So it sounds like there was very little hesitation. The Wayne almost said, "Look, we got to be in court. We got to get on a plane, and you got to be there too." So you kind of came with him in those preliminary hours, as he's described it, as a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Were you coming to check things out, or do you kind of already know in your heart that if he got it, you were coming?
Well, we talked before, and I knew that, you know, he had talked to me before if he got a job that he was interested in me coming, which was, I was flattered. And so really in my mind, you know, I was ready to come, you know, as soon as he said it. It's like he had me on that first hello. But yeah. So, yeah, he gave me a call. I was actually in the office, doing some work in the office at University of Montana. He said, "I need you on this plane in about 10 minutes. And I was about 15 minutes from my house, had no clothes. So I ran to the house, threw some clothes in a bag, and in about 15 minutes met Coach at the airport, and then came over with him. And it's been unbelievable to see the welcoming reception, you know, for a chance to see people meet Coach first time and see what he's all about, see his family, meet his family. What a great wife, what great kids he's raised, and just the type of person, you know, I think everybody's going to be really excited. And, you know, I don't know if they know what a great guy and a great person. He's not only a great a person, but he's a great coach. He's a great role model and mentor for a program for the young man that will come here.
And what are some of your impressions, Coach, about the basketball practice center we're sitting and conducting this interview in, and just some of the things you've seen around this campus that give you some sense of enthusiasm and excitement about recruiting here, coaching here, living here?
Well, the first thing is the great reception and the warmth of the people. You know, being in Hawaii, one thing I took away from Hawaii, have a great, they call it ohana, the family atmosphere. I think there's a great family atmosphere here and a great family feel where everybody's pulling towards together for each other at the university, and everybody's excited about everybody else's programs. I really like that. And then the other thing is, I just think, you know, with the facilities you have here, and you're not going to find a nicer practice facility. The beautiful strength and conditioning facility just right next door is unbelievable. Then you walk across the street, across from Gill, and you've got the academic center where you condition your athletes, you know, to be successful off the court. So those things are big to us, is having programs in place where we can really get these kids degrees, condition them for success on and off the court, And then the other thing is, this place is unbelievable. I think it's an opportunity where we can really spend a lot of time and help our players grow and mature. We'll have an open door policy. Coach is great that way. And I think a huge responsibility when these young men come in here is have structured plans and programs, but also, help them grow and mature. So when they walk out of here, they have a chance to have it all. Walk out of here, have a degree in hand, be conditioned for success. Having coached, I've coached them every single day. We're big on wanting them coached. Every single repetition, the old adage used to be, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, the new adage, the adage we have, it's not broken, we're going to break it down, fix it back better, stronger, tighter, more efficient, so you keep evolving and stay on cutting edge. So I think Coach is really good at always, always with an eye towards the future, breaking down every aspect of the program, of our players, and trying to build those things back better, stronger, more efficient, so we keep evolving individually and even keep evolving collectively as a team.
Evolving and cutting edge are high concepts and good concepts, and yet the late great Ralph Miller, in talking about the game, would say the game hasn't changed since Coach Rupp put up the peach basket back in 1898 or whenever it was, and he was big on saying the fundamentals always apply, and the game is a game of fundamental soundness and so on. So as you evolve and achieve cutting edge, what place also in terms of breaking down and building back up to the fundamentals have of the game of basketball?
Well, it all boils down to fundamentals. I mean, shoot, even in regards to basketball, even outside of basketball, if you have a breakdown in communication, that's a fundamental breakdown. And it's helping these kids, sometimes understand, to get to the attention to detail, to the little teeny details. Where you separate yourself, where you really go back and you tighten up your skill set in regards to basketball. Maybe you take out some wasted motion or movement, teach them how to maintain better body balance, basis support, teach them how to pivot correctly. Those are little things. At the end of the day, those are used things. Usually what makes a pro is he can maintain low body balance, base of support. Then through knowing how to pivot properly, he can maintain that base and balance and leverage throughout the whole sequence of that move. And that's what separates a lot of players. A lot of people don't want to spend the time to really learn those little attention detail things, which are basic, solid fundamentals. Those are the little things that we're interested in doing, and think that we can separate ourselves at the end of the day by that attention to detail and by attacking those little things. And at the end of the day, just like in life, all the little things, if you do them correctly, it takes care of the big things. And that's really what the program is built. If we pay attention to detail with helping these kids get degrees and condition them for success, we're helping them get conditioned in regards to basketball, because in basketball, you play the level of your conditioning. You can be blessed with great God-given abilities, great jumping ability, great quickness, great speed. You can have really worked and developed your skills, your shooting, your ball handling, but if you're worried about your next breath, you can't showcase any of those skills. So everything is so big. We do year-round strength and conditioning because you play the level of your conditioning. So these kids have an opportunity where they're very skilled. We can tighten their games, keep them evolving. But again, if they're not in shape, they can't showcase those things. So that's a big thing to us, is making sure that what we call good to great. Good is every once in a while. Great is being able to showcase those things every day. Well, the only way you can do that if you really buy into, strengthening your body and conditioning your body for success.
You mentioned your growing up and your life in Utah, and you mentioned Salt Lake City, and you've been at Louisiana Tech, and so Salt Lake City, Utah, Louisiana Tech makes me think of somebody that described in your bio that's now on OSUBeavers.com as Karl Malone, as being a guy you consider a great friend, maybe even a best friend. In terms of doing things right, there's no better execution of a play in basketball than his pick and roll with Stockton through the years. How did you get to know Karl so well, and how has that friendship developed and impacted your life?
Well, it's amazing. When he first came into Utah, to Salt Lake City, I coached at East High School, which is right up by the University of Utah, and he's big on always conditioning himself. So we used to have our basketball team, we'd work out in the summer, 6 a.m. every morning. We'd either do conditioning or we'd be doing skill development. Well, Karl was up there running. And that's where I first met him. He's running. Then they had the Rocky Mountain Review, which was the summer pro league there, which was in my gym, 14 glass backboards, 6,000 square foot weight room. And so Karl played in the first league game there, and actually got to know him there, and shagged some balls for him and did things like that. And then about 2 years later, he married his wife, who was Miss Idaho, and she actually was very good friends with my wife, which we kind of became closer together, and kind of from that time kind of have been together. My wife and I ran his foundation the Karl Malone Foundation for Kids, helping kids in the Western United States, anybody with serious illness, disease, things like that, which was an unbelievable opportunity. I've traveled the world with him when he used to do some things with Coke and Sprite where he'd have to make appearances overseas. I'd travel with him there. Actually involved in when he did the tag team wrestling where Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman tag teamed against Karl and Diamond Dallas Page. Actually traveled with him and actually was at that event, which was pretty fun. And then, so we've always been close, stayed close together. And then when he actually moved back home to Ruston, Louisiana, where Louisiana Tech is, and that job came open, Karl talked me into to coming in there and becoming the head coach, which was an unbelievable opportunity. Number one, to be a head coach, but number two, to have a guy like Karl Malone at my side, and so that's kind of the story there.
That's a great story, and thank you for that. We need to wrap it up, but in closing, back to bringing all of that and these life experiences you've talked about, very interesting and diverse in so many ways, to Oregon State now, Coach, and just sort of how you envision your role. I mean, I know it's all still a little bit in flux, but what are you doing right now and your job right now in beginning to rebuild Oregon State basketball?
Well, the first thing I think when first got into town was making sure, number one, Coach had a great meeting with the players here and making sure our players here were on target and on task for what they needed to do here, and understand the structured program that we're going to have in place in regards to how we're going to handle our business on the court, off the court. You know, and I already hit on those things in regards to academics. Number one, I think the first way you would get into a problem with our staff is if you didn't fulfill your academic responsibilities and commitments. And, you know, we're big on wanting to win in every area. You know, we call it the triple win. We want to win on the court, we want to win in the classroom, we want to win in the community. So making those kids understand where it's all about winning, doing the right things, handle our business the right way. You know, UConn had a great saying last year, you know, they're not an elevator team. You know, they don't take the elevator, they're going to be a stairs team. And I think we're going to be a stairs team, and takes every step, grinds those steps out, and tries to do things the right way.